We've come to one of the most important parts of this course, and what this is I'm going to start to tie everything that I've told you before in the first 66 lessons. We're going to start putting those together and actually work with them as we go through these next bunch of lessons. I'm not quite sure how many they're going to be. I'm going to try to keep them pretty short, around 5, 6, 7 minutes, because there's a lot to digest in them. So there's probably going to be, maybe, 8, 9, 10 of these things. And what it is what exactly, and I mean exactly, what do you do when you become a PD of a new station that you've never been at? What the heck do you do? Hey Buckaroos, welcome back to Musicom Academy. This is going to be the start of a whole bunch of short but pretty intense lessons, if you will, on how to be a PD when you walk in the door. What do you do? And I'm going to take you through step by step by step in really tiny little increments, hopefully as much detail as I can possibly give you as to what you would do, or at least what I would do. Okay, I mean, different PDs do things differently. I'm going to tell you exactly what I would do, what would be running through my mind, what I'm looking for, how I would approach it, all of those type of things. So, I got a lot of notes here. I've got like pages and pages. I'm not going to do them all now. I'm just going to do this in small increments, okay? From the moment you walk in the door until the station is on the air and rolling, okay? Taking care of everything, piece by piece. Let's pretend that you're getting hired as a new PD somewhere, okay? So the first question is, do you know the market? Okay, in other words, is it in a market where you are right now? Do you know the market? Next one would be, do you know the station? Are you aware of the station? Say you've been in the market 10 years and you don't work at that station, but you've listened to the other station that now you're going to be the PD at. You should have, hopefully, a pretty good sense of what that station is and all of that sort of stuff. And then the last question, because the three of them sort of go together, do you know the inner workings of that other station that you're going to? If you do, and you know all three of these, you could probably just skip this lesson. I mean, again, it's short. You might want to watch it anyway, but you could probably move on to the next lesson. Because what this one is going to be is I'm going to sort of center on what you would do if you're going in and you don't know the station, you don't know the insides, and you don't know the market. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. So what do you do then? Well, first off, it's information gathering time, which is going to be a huge amount of these next few lessons. You are gathering information before you touch anything. I can't tell you how many times that has worked for me. I'd come into some place and I'd think this or I'd think that, and I'd want to mess with it, but I would like, man, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Let me leave it alone. And in some instances, I'd say probably half, I was right to leave them alone because what I thought the tact was, it actually moved on me the longer I was aware of it and the longer that I was pulling data in. Little by little, the data would like move me. Okay, I need to be here, not there. Okay, so you want to be gathering information but not touching anything, okay? And this is what you're going to be doing. Talk to the GM, maybe the music director, anybody that you can talk to that you would trust. I don't know if I would talk to the sales manager necessarily because they may be skewed in a different manner because their job revolves around different things. And also they might not be a programming type person, where usually a GM has to be on both sides of that spectrum because, they can't be 100% sales leaning and ignore the programming because it's the radio station. So I would talk to the GM. And I would talk to the music director because you're probably going to be talking to the music director, and I'll go through that maybe this lesson, but for sure the next lesson. And I would ask the GM, what are in his mind or her mind the main competitors of the radio station? Have him tell you what the call letters are or the name of the radio station. Maybe it's called KISS, maybe it's called Power or something like that. But a lot of times it helps to find out, okay, if it's called Power, what is the actual call letters, so you can find them and stream them and all that sort of stuff. But what you do not want is for him or her to tell you the ratings. You don't want to know ratings. I would say you're not going to want to know ratings for at least the next 3-4 lessons of the things that I'm telling you to do. You want to be in the dark about the ratings. And I'll tell you why. Because what I want you to do, and what I would always try to do, is I would try to listen to a market not knowing anything about it. And I would listen to a radio station and catch the nuance, which is what we're going to be doing. And I'd listen to this one, and I'd listen to that one, I'd listen to so and so. And after a while, I would start to form, okay, to my ear, this is the way the stations should rate, and this is how the ranking should be of the ones that I'm competing against, okay? Only way later on, like way later on, would I would actually want to know the ratings, because I'm really hoping that if I ranked, say, 5 stations that we compete against, if I rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, when I look at the ratings themselves for real, I'd want them to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wouldn't want them to be like 4, 1, 3, 5, whatever, that kind of thing. I wouldn't want them to be different. I'd want them to be identical or really close. Maybe I'd have the spreads a little bit different because I'd actually put numbers to them. Like, oh, this should be, I don't know, maybe about a 5 share. This should be a 2. This should be a 3. That type of thing. I'd want them to be close, because if they're close, then I know that I can trust my ear really well, that I have actually tagged the market itself with my ear. We're in sync. And when you need to go for gut things, which you're going to be having to do, you can trust your gut because you know it's sort of calibrated, basically. So a lot of this is calibration. Now, what we want to do is look up those stations online. We're not going to listen to them just yet, but I just want you to look at their websites. I want you to look at the websites and go through them, each one. And, when you're looking for certain things, like, what does their logo look like? Does it look like a good logo? Does it look like a bad logo? Is it cheesy? Is it professional? Does the logo sort of seem to match up with what the station appears to be to you? Does it look like it's cheap, like the company doesn't have any money? Does it look like the typical corporate ones where, it's boilerplate for certain sections and, 100 different stations under that same company banner? Is it cookie cutter or not? Is it fun? Is it playful? Is it pretty creative? Do they do things on there, like even if it's boilerplate, it might be a boilerplate, website in most of it, like 90% of it, but are there sections in there where, wow, this is not boilerplate, and they got some pretty good contests here, or they got some pretty good creative things here, or they got some pretty good fun games that are about the market or specifically about the station. In other words, are they working at it? That's what you're trying to get a feel for. Are you up against stations who are just doing the norm, or is somebody there at the helm working at it and is creative and are doing pretty cool things? Okay, that's what we're trying to figure out from this segment. And that would be this entire segment. That's all I want you to take a look at. And, again, you're going to go through, 4, 5, 6 stations. And then when you're doing it, what I want you to do is I want you to be taking mental notes, because you're going to get a feel for as you're looking at the websites, but also write some stuff down, to yourself. You don't have to be able to give them to anybody else. They're just for you. And that's what we're doing so far. Okay, that would be this lesson, getting a feel for the websites. Okay, and ultimately that's going to be the radio stations to some degree. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and especially during this segment of, new PD walking in the door, you want to get notified of each new lesson, because there's going to be a lot of them, and they're all going to be one after another and sort of in order of what you would do, and you don't really want to miss one. Okay, so hit the notification bell, subscribe, and if you like it, hit the like button. Again, this is short. These next bunch of ones will be short because I am trying to make them purposely short so that you can digest them and get a handle on them. And that's pretty much it. So until next week, when we'll go a little bit further into actually listening to the radio stations online, see ya!